top 10. We're going to go 10 through 6. Then we're going to go to halftime. Then after halftime, we're going to wrap that up. So I just want to give y'all my criteria. Okay, and we could each go around and give our criteria and give our honorable mentions. We're going to start off there first before we really attack our list as a whole. So for me, okay, my head coaching criteria, I always want to give a criteria out there because a lot of people, when you have conversations like this, a lot of people may look at your list and be like, okay, it's not adding up. So I want to make it make sense, right? So for me, it's X's and O's is definitely a part of this question. I understand every coach is different. Some coach may be leaders of men, right? Some coaches may be that Kyle Shanahan, McVay, X's and O's gods, right? But X's and O's matter to me. Coaching staff, okay, the team that you assemble to help develop players, the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators, the quarterback's coach, right? I'm definitely big on staff. I think it's very important. Coaching trees included into this conversation as well. And a resume, primarily the last couple of years. I'm not talking about things that you did in daggone 2005 and 2004 now. That has nothing to do with a modernized NFL. I'm talking about resume the last 2 to 3 years. What have you done? That's my criteria. Zach, if you want to give yours and Zay, by all means.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying this. It's funny, Will. I'm sure you remember this, but I kind of had this idea to do this list at the start of one of our shows a few weeks ago because it kind of just hit me. Like Bill Belichick, a guy that certainly would have made our top 10. He just retired. He's not coaching anymore. The same thing goes for, or he didn't retire, but he's not coaching. Pete Carroll. yeah, exactly. Even though Robert Kraft will tell you it was a mutual parting of ways, but we all know what really happened. Pete Carroll, same thing. Mike Vrabel's not coaching this year. There are just a ton of guys that would have been in the top 10 in years past that aren't coaching anymore. And that opened my eyes. Like, man, it would be cool to do this list over again. But similar to my quarter.
Zach, real quickly here, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We got our guest in the building. Didn't realize he was in the building. Lee Jones is back on 99 Pod. I'm going to bring my guy into the show. I'm going to introduce him. And then, Zach, you can continue.
Sounds good.
Bring him on. So to my guy, Lee Jones in the building.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, my guy? How you feeling, man?
Doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, thank you for coming on, man. Right now, we are getting started ranking our head coaches right now, 10 through 6. Okay, and Zach right here is talking about his criteria for his ranking. So, Zach, you can continue if you want.
Yeah, I'll just start off by saying, Lee, what's going on? I'm Zach. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always cool. Like you come right on the show and immediately we're breaking down our top 10 coaches. So I know you're going to have an opinion on all our lists, one way or the other. But with my criteria, similar to my quarterback lists, a lot of things matter. But the way I rank these guys was if I just had to hire a coach for one season, who would I want running my team? And hires on your staff have a lot to do with it. X's and O's have a lot to do with it. But I'm just really ranking the guys that I feel the most comfortable and the most confident in leading my team if I'm trying to win a championship. I would say that's really my main criteria.
Okay. Zay, talk to me.
You know, it's difficult to year by year discuss the top 10 coaches because there's so many coaches in the NFL. But the criteria that I hold is kind of success in the NFL. What you've done, the coaching tree, what you've worked with the players there, how you develop players, and a lot of different nuances of the game. You know, success is always the number one criteria. What have you done in the NFL that warrants you to be a top 10 coach? But then after that, it trickles down into a little bit of nuances about, like you said before, your coaching tree. Who are your coordinators? Who are your defensive coordinators? Where are they now than today? So I think those kind of things implement why I make my list from 10 to 6 today.
All right, man. I'm feeling a little bit fast pace here. We got 4 guys on the mic. My guy Lee Jones, if you want, you can give a criteria. I know you got a list as well. And you could actually go forward with your list 10 through 6 right after you give your criteria.
All right. First of all, I heard the first segment. Excellent job, fellas, on the first segment. I think y'all all was spot on. The only thing I'll say about that, I think they drafted J.J. McCarthy to be the future. And Donald is like to one of your points. He's a bridge quarterback, but to your point, Minnesota, 4th best team in the North anyway. So they weren't really going to do anything anyway. But my list, success, man. What's your winning percentage? and over a select period of time matters, right? When you look at a guy like a Mike Tomlin, and I see you have him up there, to have never had a losing season, that matters. Man,
playoffs matters too.
Yeah. Well, playoffs matter, and playoff definitely matters. Playoff definitely matters. He's been in the playoffs. He made the playoffs last year with quarterbacks that only threw a total of 10 touchdowns. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about a coach and how well he can coach.
It's gonna be a good one, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I say. But I'll give you my list. My number 10 is Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Cowboys. He has the most wins in the NFL, the second most wins in the NFL the last 3 years of anybody except Andy Reid. That's 36 wins in the last 3 years. Now, haven't had playoff success, but the most regular season wins of any coach in the NFL over the last 3 years, 36. He has a 62% winning percentage. He's a Super Bowl champion coach. That's my number 10. My number 9 is DeMeco Ryans of the Houston Texans. DeMeco, he only has 1 year under his belt, but what a great year. He picked Houston up from the ashes, rose them up. The defense, he's a defensive specialist, but what he did to rebuild the Houston Texans tell me he's going to be a star for years to come. So my number 9 is DeMeco Ryans. My number 8 is Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, he's a Super Bowl champion. The Jacksonville right now, they had 1 year where they went in the playoffs last year, not so much, but a Super Bowl champion has literally won almost 60% of his games while being in the NFL. My number 7 is Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur for the Green Bay Packers. 60-53 record, 5-3 in the playoffs. 56-27, 3-4 in the playoffs. An offensive-minded coach that, hey, with Jordan Love, he has them right where they want to be, and they may be the favorite to win the NFC North. So I have him at number 7. My number 6 coach is Kyle Shanahan for the San Francisco 49ers. Look, I like Shanahan. He's an offensive-minded coach, but two things grade Kyle Shanahan down. He's been in the Super Bowl twice, had the lead in the fourth quarter twice, and he lost both games. Hey, he can coach. He's an offensive-minded coach, but let me say this, game management, how you manage the game matters. And too many times in Kyle Shanahan's career, the management of the game, which is part of being the head coach, has sort of slipped, and it's hurt him as far as winning Super Bowls. If he'd have won one of those Super Bowls, he would be higher up on my list. And then my number 6 coach, that was my number 6.
Yeah,
that's my number 6. Yeah, that's my number 6. So that's 6 through 10 right there. You guys tell me what you think about it, and we can debate on that.
Go ahead, Zach.
I just want to say one thing, man. I'm curious for your thoughts on this, and having Kyle Shanahan at number 6 is interesting. So I find it funny. I don't know if you did this, if you meant to say this, but you said, he had the lead in the Super Bowl twice and didn't end up winning the game. That's in his head coaching career. But just like one thing as a football fan that has always really bothered me, and I'm curious if you agree with me on this, is that epic 28-3 game with the Falcons when they blew it to the Patriots. Like, one thing that really bothers me about that game is Kyle Shanahan, of course, his play calling was a big reason why they blew that lead, but I never understood why he was the main culprit of that loss and not Dan Quinn, who was the head coach of that team. Like, winning a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator is not equivalent as winning a Super Bowl as a head coach. And that always bothered me, that Kyle Shanahan was really the face of that choke and not Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn should have told him he's the head of the team. He should have said, look, like, run the ball a few times here and there. And I don't know, just as a football fan, like, that's one thing that always bothered me about Kyle Shanahan. I think each of the last 2 Super Bowls with San Francisco, you could pin on him, even though it was against an all-time coach in Andy Reid and an all-time quarterback in Mahomes. But I want your thoughts on that 28-3 blown lead. Was that a big reason why you had him at number 6 and not higher?
Absolutely, because to your point, Dan Quinn is the head coach, but most head coaches, they leave the game planning to the offensive coordinator. And to your point, look, you're up 28-3 at halftime. Run the football. Run the football. Run some time off of that clock and win that football game. He was throwing the ball. He had drives of 1 minute and 30 seconds. He had drives of 2 minutes. he gave New England enough time to come back. And that, to my point earlier, clock management, game management matters. And that's why I bring him down. A lot of people love Kyle Shanahan, and I have to give him credit. Been to the Super Bowl, but game management matters. And every time you see him in these critical situations where he has to manage the game and ultimately win a Super Bowl, because that's what coaches are judged on. And so I agree. You have to run the football in that. So that game, I grade him down quite significantly for that. And that compounded with what he's done lately. Like last year, you had the game in hand. Should have won the football game.
Yeah, look. Okay. I'm gonna just keep it a bean. I can't defend the choke job. Okay. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't defend that. But when you talk about, and you just said it, Lee, winning a Super Bowl is what you're judged on. And I feel like you're gonna rank this guy that we're looking at right here ahead of Kyle Shanahan. I'm assuming, right? I assume he's gonna be in your top 5. Okay. And I'm saying to myself, okay, yes, we know Kyle Shanahan choked leads in the big game, but at least he got there. I'm talking about now, like in the last, decade. At least he got there, to give himself an opportunity to win one. Whereas you look at a guy like the famous, beloved Mike Tomlin, who hasn't won a playoff game in 6 years. To me, the choking has to hold more weight than not winning in the playoffs.
Especially when you're getting to the Super Bowl with Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant, with Jimmy G, who's not Himothy. This guy's not even starting anymore.
But what quarterbacks have Tomlin had since Roethlisberger? I mean, you've had a bunch of trash there.
I mean, Jimmy G is trash. Be honest with you.
I think Jimmy G is trash too. But let me say this real. So Tomlin hasn't had a losing season, but he's also all-time won 63% of his games, right? His win percentage is at 63%. Kyle Shanahan, win percentage is right around, I think it's 53%. So over the life, he's been in the league 8 years. Of course, Tomlin's been in
long, of course.
Yeah. So again, and I get you. Tomlin has to start advancing further in the playoffs. I think the Steelers have a very, very good season this year. I think that people are sleeping on Russell Wilson and what he'll provide for the Steelers. Trust me, what the Steelers need is a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field that's accurate. It's not Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields as a quarterback, but Justin Fields is too inaccurate, and they don't need a running quarterback. They need a quarterback that can manage the game and get the ball out on time, and that's where Justin Fields struggles. But I think the Steelers are set up to go far in the playoffs this year. But I hear you what you're saying about what have you done for me lately? I'm looking at it from the totality of their career, and a man that has never had a losing season, that continues to have smoke and mirrors and getting these teams to the playoffs. I did rank him pretty high, and I'll let you know what 1 through 5 looks like when we get there.
Isaiah, you could begin with your 10 through 6, so you could, speed it up.
All right, perfect. At number 10, I'm going with Jim Harbaugh. The man, I understand he hasn't coached in the NFL quite some time, but when he was in the NFL, he was 44-19 record. He's 5-3 in the playoffs, Super Bowl appearance with quarterbacks such as Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. In the NFL today, those are probably bottom 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. He revolutionized offense. He's the one that created essentially the mobile QB offense, and he put a lot of teams on in the NFL. And we're going to talk about his coaching down the line, but I think Jim Harbaugh is number 10 for me. At number 9, I'm going with DeMeco Ryans. I'm a fan of his work. It's impeccable what he did with CJ Stroud, and it's amazing what he did with that defense alone. It was one of the stingiest defenses in the NFL, and they're all young, and they're just growing with DeMeco Ryans. This man is a guru on his team. He's a young player guru, and I think it's only going to grow here. So at number 9, I got DeMeco Ryans. At number 8, I have Mike McDaniel. He has changed Tua's career trajectory by himself alone. His appearance on this team created a wave of just inspiration for all these different players on that offense, and it created one of the more dynamic offenses we've seen in quite some time last year. I have to put him at number 8. I know it's kind of high, but he's winless in the playoffs, so until he wins a playoff game, he could get a little bit lower on the list, but right now he's at number 8. At number 7, I'm going with Dan Campbell. I'm a fan of his work. but I think he's more of an inspirational coach than an X and O's coach. And I've seen that time and time again. I love his aggressiveness, his aggression as a coach to force players to go after him fourth down, to make those risky plays. We love it, but I don't see him as more of the X's and O's guy like the other coaches in the NFL, but I do have him at number 7. And at number 6, I'm going with Sean McDermott. I think Sean McDermott is one of the better coaches in the NFL. I love his defensive schemes. I think offensively, he's it's not the best to me. I feel like you don't pick the best offensive coordinators for that offense, but I think defensively, he's always gotten that team to play exceptionally well against the elite of the NFL. So just to recap my list, number 10, Jim Harbaugh. Number 9, DeMeco Ryans. Number 8, Mike McDaniel. Number 7, Dan Campbell. And at number 6, I have Sean McDermott.
Zach, you can go and I'll go after you.
All right, guys, I'll start off by saying this. Lee, it's funny. Before you hopped on, I mentioned this. Part of the reason why we decided to do this list, I had an idea and it hit me like, man, Bill Belichick's not coaching anymore. Pete Carroll's not coaching anymore. Mike Vrabel's not coaching anymore. Those are 3 guys that most definitely would have made my list. And that opened my eyes to this stat. And I'm going to throw this out there to you guys. Do you guys know who the only active coach in the NFL is right now to win the Coach of the Year award twice? And if you could guess it, you will know who my number 10 guy is because that's where I have him. The only coach in the NFL right now to win Coach of the Year twice. Do you know who that is?
I'm going to go with Kevin Stefanski.
That is correct. Kevin Stefanski.
Can't mess with my knowledge of the game. Let's go.
you know ball. I have Kevin Stefanski at number 10. I'm honestly surprised that he hasn't come up yet. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the Cleveland Browns. I'm not a fan of the way this organization does business. I think they're pretty overrated going into next year, but Kevin Stefanski is really the only part of this team I really like. I think he's a phenomenal coach that has been put in the not greatest situation predominantly because of who his quarterback is, but after Watson went down last year, you can't deny how impressive it was that Stefanski made the playoffs with 5 different guys playing quarterback. It's interesting because I never remember a guy who just won Coach of the Year entering the following season with such a large amount of pressure on him. But I think that's where Stefanski is right now. And really, Deshaun Watson's only chance of turning his career around is because of Kevin Stefanski. It's a small chance, but I'll have Kevin Stefanski at number 10. I think he's fully deserving of a spot on this list. I'm just going to keep the trend going. Like I promised, this wasn't something we spoke about before the show, but just like Lee and Zay, I'm also going to have DeMeco Ryans at number 9. I think you deserve credit when you go into a situation like Houston that was literally a joke and an embarrassment of a franchise that had nothing going for them. And immediately in your first year, you're not only bringing them to the playoffs, but you're winning playoff games. As good of a job as Stefanski did last year, I think DeMeco Ryans also had a legitimate argument for winning Coach of the Year based on what he did. Everyone I've ever heard talk about this guy, even dating back to when he was a player, has told you that he's just a prototypical leader of a locker room. Everyone loves playing with him. The players love playing for him. Bobby Slowick was a great hire, bringing him to Houston from San Francisco. DeMeco Ryans has a bright future in the coaching industry. I'll have him at number 9. At number 8, I'm going to stay in the AFC South. I'm guessing this is a guy that didn't appear on your guys' list, but I'm going to have him here anyway. I'm going to go with Shane Steichen of the Colts at number 8. I was just so impressed with what he did last year with not only Anthony Richardson in 4 games, but also with Gardner Minshew. I think if I'm ranking the young up-and-coming play callers in this league, I would have Shane Steichen right there. I also think the fact that he was with Justin Herbert his rookie year with the Chargers as their offensive coordinator, and Justin Herbert broke the all-time rookie passing yardage record, the most ever by a rookie. That was with Shane Steichen. Then he goes to Philadelphia, and we know what he did with Jalen Hurts, getting them to a Super Bowl. And as soon as Shane Steichen leaves, the Eagles' offense falls off a cliff. The same thing could be said for the Chargers. As soon as he leaves with Joe Lombardi, that offense was not the same. And I'm expecting Anthony Richardson to have a big year, and Shane Steichen is a big reason why. I will have him at number 8. At number 7, I'll bring back a couple guys Zay just named. I'm going to go with Jim Harbaugh of the Chargers at number 7. I think this is an appropriate spot for him because we know what he's done as an NFL head coach, but it was a long time ago. It was a decade ago now. So I want to see if he could come back into the league right away and immediately make that same impact. We saw it with Urban Meyer, and I'm not trying to compare him to Urban, but no one expected Urban to be that bad, and he was. So I just am curious, is Jim Harbaugh going to be able to connect with NFL players like he was in college. There's no doubt that he was an elite college coach, and he's a massive upgrade over Brandon Staley. I think he's deserving of a spot in the top 10, but I'm going to have him at number 7. And at number 6, like, this might be a little high, but I don't care. Like, I'm putting Dan Campbell at number 6. If you go to Detroit and immediately in a few years are bringing the Lions to the NFC Championship game, and really they should have been in the Super Bowl, I'm ranking you high on this list. I don't care. I know that when you look at all the player surveys right now, they will tell you that Mike Tomlin is probably the coach that players want to play for the most. But I think sooner rather than later, Dan Campbell is going to be right up there. I think he knows how to manage a locker room. He's really the prototypical CEO coach, a guy that doesn't really call plays, but you could tell that he has a grasp on what's going on in that locker room. And I'm expecting big things from the Lions this year. I'll have him at number 6. So to recap my list, 10 through 6, Kevin Stefanski at number 10, D'Amico Ryans at number 9, Shane Steichen at number 8, Jim Harbaugh at number 7, Dan Campbell at number 6.
Yeah, this is a tougher list than I expected because there's one guy that y'all keep bringing up, and I'm like, damn it, I want to put him in my top 10, but he's one spot out. I'll mention that guy later. At number 10, I'm going to go with Mike McDaniel, a.k.a. Oppenheimer. Okay, just like how Oppenheimer created the atomic bomb, he created the most explosive offense in the NFL. Okay, and we have to respect that. Tua was on his way out. Brian Flores benched Tua a multitude of times. Okay, didn't want to deal with the headache of having him grow. And what Mr. Oppenheimer, aka McDaniel, did was came in and installed not only his playbook and his offense, but confidence in Tua to be able to operate and quarterback and point guard that offense he installed. Okay, and he's doing that very well. And Tyreek Hill's putting up numbers, and the utilization of motions, you know, pre-snap and inside out as opposed to going outside and being very innovative, you know. And I'm just interested in seeing what he does in year 3 of that offense and how that looks, because year 2 was better than year 1, and year 1 was pretty good, but they couldn't run the football year 1. Year 2, they ran the football a lot with Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, who had a career year. Now, year 3, what does that look like? And if it looks anything better than year 2 and 1, I expect for them to win the playoff game. Can you? Okay. At number 10, I'm going Mike McDaniel. At number 9, I'm going to go with my guy, Dan Gamble. I'm going to call him Gamble. Gambling from rambling. Okay. Got you scrambling. I'm going to go with that man right there. You know, look, what he did with the Lions, and I ain't lying, is definitely something to behold and talk about a lot. Okay, this franchise was not known for winning. Okay, and he came in there with his passion, with his fiery, you know, take and just fieriness about him to, you know, wow the guys up and get them to believe. Okay, because in order to be successful, you have to believe in it. Okay, when you believe in it, you're going to become it. And that's what these players were able to do. He resurrected Jared Goff's career, not because he called the X's and O's, because he hired the right guy to call the X's and O's in my guy, Ben Johnson. And the only negative thing I would say about Dan Gamble, right? Yep, Gamble, is that he likes to gamble. And that's not a negative, right? Because I do think, you know, if you want to win the game, go win the game. I get it. We want to go for 2. But he coaches, and this is a double-edged sword here. He coaches too much with passion to the point where he's too emotional in the game coaching. For example, against your Cowboys, Lee Jones, we going for the 2-point conversion. You want to go for the 2-point conversion? Yeah, coach. All right, we going to go for it. And even though there was a penalty that brought them back and another penalty that brought them back, you want to go for it still? Yeah. We going to go for it. No, you got to adjust. You got to fill the game. Okay, what's the likelihood you're going to convert on that 2-point conversion when you got 2 flags that brought you back? Okay, and then you got the NFC Championship game. When you see the lead is evaporating, you got to stop the bleeding, take the points. Okay, momentum, you got to feel that. And he didn't feel that, and they lost that game. And my only thing is, we know that there's going to be skyrocketing expectations. They were expectations last year. The hype train was real. He had those guys ready and prepared for it. But this year is even more real. We'll see if he has his guys ready. I think he will. That's why I got him at number 9. At number 8, we're going to go with Mr. Mike Tomlin at number 8 for me. And look, I said this before on record. I made a living off of this. I think he's the most overrated coach of all time. with all due respect. You know, I really do. And I like the dude. Trust me, I do. I love hearing him speak. Every time I hear him speak, I get baptized in the same way that these other guys do. Like Brandon Ayuk, who wants to play for this guy. Like Wilson, who wanted to play for this guy. Like Fields, that was like, send me to Pittsburgh. I get it. I understand how the Jedi mind trick works with the PR and knowing the right things to say and having a guy that can understand you from a culture perspective. I get it. But at the end of the day, I'm here to win. I'm here to win a championship. And it's not only about wins and losses, because that's subjective, right? Even though you may not think it is. It's black and white. It could be subjective. Why did we lose a game? Did my quarterback stink? Did my defense stink? Like, yeah, it could be subjective, right? And not black and white. However, it's the loyalty thing that bothers me, the failure to adapt to modern times. The reason why we created the show is not 1999 anymore is because literally it's not 1999 anymore. Times have shifted. You have to get with the program. There's loyalty thing. Matt Canada should have been out of there. Okay, before he got out of there. He overstayed his due. Why is he over there? He should have been gone. Okay? My mic fell. You see? They don't like me talk about Mike T, but guess what? I'm going to talk my stuff today, Jack. I'm going to hold my mic like this until I'm done. Okay, with all due respect, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. But anyway, like I said before, he doesn't adapt to modern times. And like I said, he got to adapt. He got to win a playoff game. Okay, and this year is a golden opportunity with Justin Fields and Wilson to show me that he can be a guy that can actually develop a quarterback, because he didn't develop Big Ben. He inherited Big Ben. Okay, he failed Kenny Pickett with the coaching development, with the coordination. He failed Trubisky, who was trying to revive his career. Can he save one of these guys' career? We'll find out. I like him at number 8. I'm going to put some pep in my step. Number 7, we going Kevin Stefanski. Give that man his jurisdiction due, because, listen, his career and success should not be tied in to Deshaun. First of all, he won without Deshaun. Okay, he got Baker Mayfield to win a playoff game. Okay, he literally inherited a situation that was a dumpster fire, and he became the outlier in the dumpster fire, and he got this team to play good ball before Deshaun came into the fold. So even if Deshaun come into the fold, we all see Deshaun Watson. He's not the same Deshaun Watson. Okay, you got. Just like in Brooklyn, when you out here on Nostrand Avenue, okay, with your chain out, okay, you got, brother. You got robbed. You got stuck up. Can we admit that? $230 million fully guaranteed, and we ain't fully guaranteed to win anything. You got, my brother, damn. Okay, just admit to that. But guess what? That should not come at the detriment to Stefanski's name and what he did with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby ain't Kobe, bro. Okay, what he did with him, what he did with Baker. Okay, all this guy do is call good plays and have his quarterback ready to play and have his team ready to play. And I respect that. And he won a couple coaches of the years. Okay, he won a couple playoff games. I got to put him in here. So I got him at number 7. Cap off my list. I'm going to go with the guy that when you say his name, the first thing that comes to mind is winner, Mr. Jim Harbaugh. All I do is win, no matter what. That's what he does. Okay, everywhere, college, NFL, can't you tell? This guy is that dude. And look, I think the Chargers, look, it may not be a quick fix. I'm not expecting him to turn water into wine. I'm not expecting the Chargers to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not, okay? They got a new quarterback, they have the same quarterback. They have a new running back room, a new tight end room, a new wide receiver room. There's a lot of renovations going on. They are resetting, okay? Now they do bring back some veteranship on the defense, but still, it's a reset team, okay? But what he's going to install is something that they haven't had, identity, okay? Which is a guy that these players could respect his resume, okay? Brandon Staley, you got this fake politician who want to be a daggone coach, who should be in politics because all this brother do is lie, okay? Just like Joe Biden, he should be in politics, okay? Y'all your politicking mind. He should be in politics, okay? He shouldn't be a coach. This guy shaking his ass, doing a daggone pregame. Okay, what kind of coach is this? Okay, you need a coach with a resume. Okay, that says winner. And that's what Jim Harbaugh is bringing. So these guys are going to play hard for that guy. These guys are going to run through a wall for that guy. These guys are going to win games for that guy. Okay, trust and believe it. You can achieve it. That guy is number 6 for me. And guess what? My last point. That the Harbaugh connection. I'm in a trance right now. I ain't feeling it, okay? Even though my mic woke me up. When that joint fell, I'm like, all right, we got to end things up, okay? That Harbaugh pipeline that they got going on where, you know, Greg Roman was with John Harbaugh, now with Jim and Greg Roman and all those other guys, you know, the players, right? That's a real thing. And they make it work with those guys. My only issue with Jim, my only issue is when you go back to that pick, number 6, I think it was, or one of those picks they had top picks in the draft. They drafted my guy, Joe Alt. And, you know, you can look at the Justin Herbert injury and be like, okay, that's a good pick because, you know, he's dealing with an injury. You need to protect that man. But when I'm seeing these Malik Neighbors highlights, you know, constantly, I'm like, oh, my God, like him with Justin Herbert, that could have literally changed his organization immediately along with Jim Harbaugh coaching the team. But I still believe in his plan because he has shown me with his resume I should follow his lead. I like him at number 6. So to recap my list, I got at number 10, I got my guy, who I got number 10? Mike McDaniel. At number 9, I got Dan Campbell. At number 8, I got Mike Tomlin. At number 7, I got Kevin. At number 6, I got my guy, Jim Harbaugh. That's my list.
I just wanted to say one thing, guys. Lil, I don't know if your plan was to go to halftime right after this or not, but I got some breaking news in the NFL, and I want to talk about it. We have a trade that just went down.
Ayuk?
Unfortunately, it's not Brandon Ayuk. It's not the guy we expected. But how about this? The Patriots are close to finalizing a trade that will send Matthew Judon to the Falcons. And the deal is expected to be done.
That's a good pick. That's a good trade. Right?
Very good pickup for Atlanta. Very good pickup.
Fantastic pickup for Atlanta. My good. Yeah. Wow. Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.